Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson and Jim Jonas from another episode of Veterans in Politics. Today we have a special treat from you all the way from Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, right? Alexus Wynder, and she's going to talk about the corruption in that state. But before we get to Miss Wynder, Jim.
No, I have no rants other than I think it's very interesting that this family court issue is not just a Las Vegas issue. Maybe 3 years ago, you were given an award for all the work you've done to fight corruption in family court. Mm-hmm. And you were able to, at that event, meet Lita Ford, who is
the rock singer,
who is a very famous rock singer,
who was married to or went out with one of the Osbourne.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Ozzy, yeah.
And so she called in and she spoke about the corruption in Florida. Yes. And then you've taken several trips to Arizona, yes, and heard about the corruption in Arizona, yes, and then also in California. Yes. And now, and thank you very much for making the trip out here to talk about what's going on in Pennsylvania. So for those individuals that love to beat up veterans in politics for picking on just Las Vegas or the Las Vegas Valley, this isn't just a local issue anymore. This is a national issue.
Let's go international, because Van Miller was talking about Canada and England. Yeah. Remember when he came on?
Yeah. And here's the thing that we're probably going to have to widen the doors here in the studio so Steve can fit his head in, because his head's going to get real big here.
Why?
Because I'll do, and of course I'm joking about, I'm trying to make light of a serious issue here. I had never even heard about any of this stuff because I don't have kids. I've never been married. So I'm like, hey, if it doesn't affect me, then
that means you don't have any baggage.
Right. So, but so then I'm like, well, if it doesn't affect me, then I'm not going to concern myself with it. But if it affects my community, right, then I should pay attention to it. And you're one of the first ones that brought this to light. And as an organization, you and well, more you than me, but we brought the corruption of family court to light, and now it's starting to expand. And what we're trying to do is that first you have to expose the problem, right? And then we got to do something about it. And I really commend not only Alexus for coming on, but just everybody who's come on, because it's not an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage. And I think one of the reasons why family court hasn't been exposed, unfortunately, is because it's almost like, and excuse me for saying this, but it's almost like women that have been raped, right? Lots of times there's a stigma that goes along with that, so they're afraid to come out, and they get attacked for doing so. So for not just women, but men as well, for the willingness and the courage to come on and give their testimonies, then that builds what we need to build to bring this issue to light and do something about it, because it is a serious problem in this country and now internationally. So I just want to thank you for coming on, and I commend Steve and this organization as a whole for exposing the corruption, and I'm just looking forward to the interview.
Well, we've been bringing it up to the congressional seats and the U.S. senatorial seats as well, because it is a national epidemic.
Because technically the judges, they have to follow the Constitution, and who writes laws? The legislators.
Right.
So they need to stand up as well as the judges. So.
Well, thank you for that, Mr. Jonas.
Sorry, it's a little long-winded, but I needed to get that off my chest.
You're fine. Miss Wynder,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm 24 and I have my 2 babies.
How old are your babies?
They will be 4 years old in July.
Twins.
Yes, twin boys, Grayson and Connor.
Okay. Keep going.
Yeah, we're just, everything started out normal. You know, met a guy, got together, the babies happened, and
Married?
no, not married, no. And everything just, it's not how it's supposed to be. And it just quickly turned into just this horrible nightmare.
Okay. Well, you came all the way from Pennsylvania,
Yes, I
so
did.
you have as much time as you want. So tell us what happened.
The babies were good. When they were born, we did have some issues, me and the father. You know, it was really quick. You know, we started talking, got together, and then I would say within 3 months of us being together, found out I was pregnant, and that was not fun. You know, I was 20, he was 28, I'm 27 at the time. We didn't know each other that well, so it's like playing catch up. So the 9 months that we had until they got here, we were trying to get to know each other.
Right.
You know, a lot of growing up to do.
Okay.
I grew up very quickly. He did not grow up at all. And he still has not grown up, and that is our issue today.
Tell us about the family court stuff.
The family court started in November of 2020 due to an ongoing issue with our relationship. We're no longer together, and us trying to co-parent was not working out when you have one person who wants to be difficult and make everything about them instead of the children, and working with the other parent because they feel like if I do right by my children, I'm going to benefit from that. And he's like a narcissist. He has to control everything. If it's not his way, then you're kind of screwed at this point. So I have fought back, and that kind of landed me here. And like you were saying before about coming forward with things, you know, taking a stand against him and trying to do right by the children and myself, it didn't work when you have the corruption in the courthouse. He and I, with my parents and my mother, his mother, came to an agreement. We wrote it up, a scheduling for custody and child support. Everything was fine. COVID happened, and I had asked him for the second time to discuss every other weekend schedule, because during COVID he had them Monday through Friday to Monday, while I had them during the weekdays. But everybody's starting to go back to normal now, and I guess he got used to that schedule, and he wasn't gonna change it. And he told me to go F myself, and I wasn't gonna see my children again. So, you know, I'm calling my mom, I'm coming home from my work, I'm screaming and crying, we're all upset. We called the cops for help, and they told me, oh, you don't have an order from the courthouse, nothing we can do. And I was left waiting until Monday to go to the courthouse. And I had spoken to the judge, and he was not having it. And I said, he threatened my life. If I came down there, he was going to do something to me.
He said, do something. You didn't say exactly what?
Yes, he did. He said I was going to F you up if you came down here.
How did you interpret that?
I was scared because of our past. He has put his hands on me in the past. So yes.
Domestic violence?
Yes. Which also
was there strangulation involved?
Yes, there was, which went unanswered.
And did you call the cops?
That happened December 23rd, really early in the morning, like 3 a.m. Came home from celebrating his sister's birthday. And it all started with jealousy. That's what led to the attack, because we went out with his sister and the husband, and she had a friend who was going to be the designated driver to get the sister and the husband home.
Male friend?
Yes, male friend. And we went to a party. And my mother had always told me, when you go out and you're with certain people, you make sure you stay together and you come home together. So at some point, while we were at this bar club thing with a dance floor, I noticed the friend was not there. And I asked him, I said, where is, I forgot his name. I said, but do you know where her friend is? Oh, what are you concerned about him for? And I said, what are you talking about? I said, he's a part of this group, and we need to make sure that all of us are okay, as well as making sure that your sister and her husband get home safe. because, he's going to drink. I had to make sure that he's going to get home. And I'm not trying to be taking everybody home all hours of the night. We came home, checked on the children, whispered to my mother that we are home safe. While I was doing that, he's going through my phone. Came back in the room and he's attacked me in the kitchen, which led...
What does that mean, attack?
He's in my face. Oh, you flirting with somebody, you sleeping with somebody. I'm seeing all these messages on my phone. And I'm like, you need to calm down. It's late. People are sleeping. I'm trying to get my phone back. And so we pushed it into the family room so we can discuss this and not wake everybody up. And it got louder. And I was able to get my phone, but I made the mistake of turning my back to him. And he reached over to get the phone back. Not his property, but he wanted it back. And that's when he started strangling me, and I was yelling and screaming. My parents came down, they had to break it up, and it was a lot. And I was scared.
Were they marks?
It came the next day, like all of this, all up in here. I mean, I'm 5'5".
Did you take pictures?
We did take pictures, yes. The one that I had sent you.
Were you, when he strangled you, were you at any time going through any type of unconsciousness?
No, when he was strangling me, I remember I dropped a bottle that was in my hand, like a Yoo-hoo bottle. Was trying to get him off of me.
Did you fight back?
I did, yes. But he's 6'7", and I knew from experience with him, with his temper and how angry he can get, I knew that if I really did hit him, he would hit me back. Like, he'd come back for more. And, my parents came down just at that time. So I ran to them. We were trying to diffuse everything. The babies were upstairs screaming. So, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get them the bottle. I needed to distract myself from him. And things escalated with him and my father and my mother. And he was in my father's face. So, I was like, I got to call help. We called 911 and we told them what happened. And they said, oh, he's drunk. It's no big deal.
So this is the Pennsylvania Police Department?
Stroud Regional, yes. They said let him sleep it off.
Okay.
And he left and he was outside, and because at first he was yelling and screaming, and we're like, you know what, you need to go. And he said he was going to leave. So he walked out the door, but then my dad had to bring him back in because we knew if we let him go, something was going to happen with him being drunk like that. And
What do you think would have happened?
He would have gotten in the car and driven home, and something would have happened. And that would have been another DUI on top of the 2 that he's already had in the past.
So he's got 2 DUIs.
And he did jail time for that, yes.
Okay.
And I was like, really? This is what it's come down to? My father did the right thing. But in return of doing the right thing, he got in his face. Things were escalating in the house. We called for help. They didn't do anything. They didn't even come out. And I was scared. I was like, really? I was like, so this is what you see on TV. This is what happens when you come forward. They don't help you. And eventually his sister had shown up and he went home.
Okay.
And fast forward a year when we had gone through with him taking the children, I had to really plead.
So from the time this incident took place, when did you start enter into the family court system?
When he took the children. When he said that night he was not bringing them back,
okay.
I was like, this is crazy. And they told me, you don't have an order. He's the father. He has rights. He can do whatever he wants. I'm like, but no one understands. Like, so it's okay for him to just rip them out of their home, a schedule like this?
How old were the children
at that time? This was shortly, this was 20, they were 18. They were going to be 2. They were about to be 2 when this had happened. And I finally got in front of a judge. And again, telling me, no big deal, family court thing. I said, you don't understand. I needed to get an emergency PFA. I said, he threatened me when his mother had called my mom, cursing her out. My father was there trying to tell my mom to hang up. He called my dad the N-word and said if he, brought his black ass down there, he was going to fight him too. So I'm like, are you kidding me? He's telling me this on the phone.
Your child's father, what's his nationality?
He's like Irish mixed with like Italian, white. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And I was like, and I was really felt like if you could say that about my father, that's how you view me then. Because I'm a product of my father. So it's like, so then why are you with me if you can come out with those words like that?
Right.
And I told the judge, I said, this is Monday. I dropped them off on Friday.
Right there. Who filed for the family court?
I did. You
did. And why did you file?
Because first of all, I filed an emergency PFA to get my children back. And when we had this agreement, this was a notarized agreement where we could come up with the terms ourselves that could be subject to change because this was...
So you try to mediate?
Yes, we did. And for some time, it was working. It was. with a little bit of a
pushback,
violence going on with the
violence.
He was nasty. When I would drop them off, he would be nasty to me. If I was late, he'd be blowing my phone. Oh, it doesn't take you this long to get here.
Did you get a behavioral order on him?
No one would listen to anything. I told him that he had a temper. He's put his hands on me in the past. And they're going to use that against you if you're not coming forward to have some kind of starting point to look at.
Let me just stop you right there, Alexus. So when the cops came out, they didn't take a police report?
They never came to my house.
They never came to your house?
His sister came and picked him up, and that was the end of it.
Did they do an event number?
No.
They didn't do anything?
Never, no follow-up, no nothing.
Okay, please continue.
Nothing. So I had to, it got to the point where my mother or my father had to start accompanying me to his house to drop my children off.
Let me stop you again. Since they didn't come to your house, did you go to them?
Yeah, but there was nothing there. They didn't have a record of it. And
no, I'm saying, did you go to the police station and tell them about the incident that took place?
No, I felt defeated that they didn't come at that time. Nothing was going to be done. And that even if I went there, they wouldn't listen to me.
So for future reference, something like that ever happens again, go to the police station, tell them what happened, get an event number. Because then at least it's on record.
Something on record, yes. Yeah. And
please continue, sir.
Things I had to start being accompanied to pick up the children. He would take the children, take them in the house, close the garage door on my face,
so you
be
went
nasty.
To his
house to drop them off, yes.
Drop them off and pick up.
He would come into my house and pick them up on whatever day they would be.
Did you feel
returned.
safe doing that?
No, I needed company.
Then why didn't you ask to be picked up at a different location, like the police department or something like that? Something public, maybe a Burger King,
I don't even know. I did feel with my mom or my father or whoever was the company, I felt at that time that wasn't enough. And then once he did all of this, I spoke to the judge. I had to plead with the judge. I said, I don't know where my children are. Okay, I dropped them off on Friday. He's got family in the city, in the Brooklyn area, right by my aunt, and he had an aunt in Virginia. I said, I don't know where they are. It's Monday. Can you please do something? I said, I really feel like he may try to leave and take my children. Like he's been telling me since they were born, he was going to take me to court and take my children.
Right.
And that's when the judge finally took this serious when I said, I don't know where my kids are from Friday to Monday. And we did get an emergency PFA scheduled. It was
PFA?
Protection from Abuse Order.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
That's how they call it? Okay.
Yeah. It took us all day. We did finally get the children back, but it was rough. He was blowing up my phone, talking about, I could be telling you something's wrong with them and you're not answering my phone. And, but then he switches from that to let's sit down like adults in person and work this out. After you did what you did, are you serious? Like, I'm not, enough is enough. I'm not going to deal with his abuse and the control anymore. And I went through with the courts. We got an order sorted out and we started to follow the order. But then, of course, things took a turn. He demanded that communication be through text only. He said he had nothing to say to me in person and he would not pick up the phone and talk to me.
Did they have a thing called
Family Wizard?
Family Wizard.
Yes. We just got into that now.
Okay.
Now, because before then, it was just regular texting and he would be blowing up my phone. You say you have nothing to say to me. Why are you harassing me? Every little thing, it's a problem. I breathe the wrong way. He didn't like it. The kids are fighting at his house. Okay. Grayson hit Connor, had a black eye. It's your fault. This happened on your watch, but it's my fault because I'm not disciplining them the right way.
I wanna get into the corruption within the court.
Yes,
room.
so we're in the courthouse now, and I filed for a motion.
What type of motion?
To modify the existing order, and I was asking for every other weekend. They had given the father the first, second, and fourth weekend every month, which left me with the weekdays, because I'm primary, so I have the weekdays.
Were you working at the time?
I was, yes.
What were you doing?
At that time, I was working between one of my restaurant jobs that I was at, and this was right after COVID that we got into. I was working at Great Flage, a resort, as well as the pool hall that me and my father had owned up there. We opened up, so I was doing both jobs. Yes.
You're not quite a Jamaican because They have 5 jobs.
Oh, I didn't know that. Didn't know.
Yeah. If you have less than 5 jobs, you're lazy.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I gotta step up my game then.
We're going back to in living color days.
Oh, no.
Just trying to throw a little humor in this.
So I was doing that. I was paying for the daycare. Life was good. I was doing what I had to do. Single mom here. As far as I was concerned, I was doing, what I thought was the best that I can do to give my children and myself a really good life. And so I just wanted extra time with my sons. And I did not know that was a lot to ask for when you went through the courts. So we went back and forth with the bickering, the arguing. I did get a lawyer at that time. Things were not working out with this lawyer. 13 days before the trial, he dropped me.
Why wasn't things working out with the lawyer?
The lawyer, I felt from the beginning, felt that I did not have a positive working relationship. And he said that my demands were unreasonable. I asked for every other weekend. Did he charge you a retainer? He did, $3,000. I had scraped up a little bit of money.
So he charged you $3,000?
Yes.
And what type of work did the lawyer do?
Nothing. I literally spoke to him on the phone twice.
I hear you. Did you file a fee dispute with the state bar?
We're in the process of that right now, yes, actually.
Okay.
And, he...
Do you have another lawyer right now?
This is my 3rd lawyer in 6 months, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that lawyer, he dropped me 13 days before the trial. And I was like, are you kidding me? And he told me, I sent you the transcripts and the messages. He told me, not a good positive working relationship. I guess he said I was too aggressive. And I said, well, this is my children on the line here. And you're over here coming up with solutions with this custody schedule to benefit the father. And I called him out on it. And I said, this is about the children. And I said, you're my lawyer, supposed to be fighting for me. And I don't think that my demands are unreasonable every other weekend. So he was fed up with it. And he told me, when I asked him when the trial was, and he told me when, and he said, I suggest you find yourself a new lawyer. And that I was going to...
I suggest you pay my $3,000 back?
I did. And that was after he had told me, after I found a new lawyer, that he was going to continue to charge me until I found a new lawyer. Most of our correspondence was through email. And he was on the conference for 45 minutes with the other lawyer arguing before it went to trial. That's all he did. So
sounds like he should run for superintendent here in Clark County School District.
Yeah, that was
just trying to add
that was the end of the contract. We had the first lawyer. So when we had our first trial through a Zoom call, that's when I felt that the courthouse was working with the father's lawyer, because it switched. It was originally in person, go through the courthouse. Sitting there, 20, 30 minutes goes by, then the officer comes in, he says, ma'am, you gotta go home. I said, what do you mean? He said, this is supposed to be on a Zoom call. So I rushed home and I logged in just in time for the last...
You've done it on your phone.
Yes, but it was scheduled to be at the courthouse, but they switched it and I never got the email from my lawyer at that time. So I was able to get in on the call for a good 10 minutes before the judge decided to extend it.
Zoom on your phone. Right?
Yes, I can, but I didn't know. I didn't have the code.
Link.
The link. I did not have that. And the lawyer was like, I sent it to your email. I never got it until after that call on the phone.
The lawyer that
I had that was going to drop me, yes.
Dropped you.
He waited until that conference to start to talk to the judge right then and there and tell them that he wanted to withdraw.
Did you file you said you're in the process of filing the fee dispute. While you're doing that, you could file a malpractice.
We're working on that as well.
Okay.
And I was on the phone. I said, Your Honor, I never signed anything to let him go. I said, he needs to finish it through the end. I said, we're
So you didn't sign
close.
a substitution of attorney?
Never said anything about letting him withdraw, or I had another one in the wings waiting, nothing. I said, Your Honor, we're so close to this trial. He cannot just leave right now. And the Honor said, I'm going to extend it to June 8th, nothing further than that. And he said, have a good day. And that was it. Me and my mom, we rushed out to the courthouse. And one of the security guards had told us about another lawyer right around the corner. They said, they're really good. So we ran over there, and this was we ran over on a Thursday. I remember it was a Thursday, and we had spoke to the secretary. I mean, we just kind of barged in there on them, and we told them what happened. And the lawyer was there, and he said, I'll take the case. He said, I'm gonna type this letter up right now. His secretary had typed it up, that all he needed was a week extension for him to review the case, and that we can proceed. Friday morning comes. Now, this is Friday, and now my conference was on a Tuesday at 9 a.m. Judge denied it. Denied the new lawyer an extension. We didn't even pay this lawyer. Didn't even talk about a payment. He said, I'll take the case.
On what grounds?
Nothing. It just said denied.
Okay.
And I was heartbroken because I was like...
But Dad has a lawyer as well?
Yes, he did. He had one, a very nasty one. And I found that out firsthand during that conference. I had to go sit through this trial by myself, representing myself. And I had no idea on what was about to happen or what I needed to do. I spoke with my father. He tried his best to prepare me because my father has his own union in the city. He works for his own unit, LIBA.
Has his own union?
In New York City, yes. He is a retired state trooper, so he works with those different companies to help these people with their jobs.
So your dad's a cop?
Ex-cop, and he did go to law school, so he was trying to prep me on some things, on how to handle myself and carry myself.
Right.
I got in there, and we started, and looking back at it now, they had told me what the true intentions of this trial was, to fight for primary. He asked me if I wanted to retain primary. I said, yes, I'm here to talk about every other weekend.
Right.
And we proceeded and started talking about some of my evidence. And they said, oh, I can't use that. That's hearsay. I said, excuse me? I said, I entered my evidence to this email. Write it back to me. I said, is this the one? He said, yes. He said, well, we can't use it because the father didn't get a copy of the evidence. I said, no one told me that. I said, I don't have a lawyer. So how was I supposed to know that? He said, we're going to scrap that from the record. When I mentioned I didn't have a lawyer and I didn't know about that, he scrapped it from the record.
So who edited it? The judge?
No, there was a transcriber right there on the Zoom call.
They can't do that.
No, they did it. They took it off the record. He said, take it from the record right then and there at the conference. So from 9 a.m.
Was the judge privy to this?
Yes.
Did you file a judicial discipline complaint against
Yes, we did. Right recently, before I got in contact with you, we did.
Okay.
We had just gotten word back actually that week that I had really contacted you and we started talking. We just gotten word by mail from them that they had received our thing and they were reviewing it. So we are still waiting on response from that.
Okay.
The second lawyer that I got, he wrote up the proposal for me after the thing. And then that was it. And we had to wait. The conference was, that was really hard.
How much did you pay the second lawyer?
$1,500.
So you're in this $4,500 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all this lawyer did was write up a proposal because after this conference, this trial was from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and I had to fight with no evidence, but I made it through. I made it through somehow. Really felt discouraged because the father had spent an hour and a half talking about why he's a better parent than I was. Lies upon lies upon lies. Okay. I mean, we're talking about him bringing up neglect and abuse on me. That he FaceTimes his kids on the Skype calls and all I do is feed them takeout. I don't do this. I don't do this. My house is this. He picks them up after daycare on Thursdays, looking a mess, dirty. I said, they're just coming from school.
Folks, we're back. We had some technical difficulty. This is Jim Jonas, Steve Sands with Veterans in Politics. We have Alexus Wynder, who is talking about the corruption in the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania court system. And we'll continue from where we left off. Please continue.
So we left off with just talking about like the trial. We went through the trial. Right. Father, he put on a really good show. Lies upon lies, smearing my name, my family's name. And it was heartbreaking to see that we had come to this point where we are. We went from a notarized order to we can't even get along. Like I cannot be in the same room with him. To him harassing me on the phone, text message, everything. My mother has accompanied me to the police station.
Do you want to clarify what Mom was saying while we were off air?
Yes. During that trial with his lies, when you go through the court system, every time you file a motion, an appeal, a modification, anything you want to do within the courthouse, you have to submit a background check.
Okay.
The father did not put anything for his background check, for nothing. As far as you knew, he was the cleanest citizen in the world. And the lawyer kept saying, we're going to submit it. His lawyer said on the record that they would put that in there, and they never did. Okay. He has gone to jail twice, back to back on DUIs. Although, and his lawyer said, oh, yeah, that was over 10 years ago. I said, okay, if it was over 10 years ago, why can't you turn the stuff in? Why is it an issue for you to submit that?
You know, I like the way opposing counsel says that, because if it was the other way around, they'll make it look like this happened to you today. You know?
Yeah.
They'll flip the switch on you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I feel like with everything going on, with them all working together, if this was me on the other end, I'd be in trouble. Didn't send something in, I'd be in trouble. And the same with the child support. Never turned in his taxes or his W-2s, refused to turn any of that in. His job, Nestle Water, the company, was also sent in paperwork They were subpoenaed by the court to send the information in. They also dismissed that as well.
And the judge didn't do any pushback?
No, they did not.
Contempt?
Every time we had gone for a conference or anything to do with the court, I looked in our records of, they have a folder for all our evidence. At least 4 or 5 times his company was subpoenaed to turn in his W-2s, his statements, nothing. And they didn't push it. They didn't fight for it.
Okay.
And so, I made it through the trial. They were coming at me. Father talked about he's going to put them in a better school than mine that I had them for their daycare. Talked about all this stuff.
I want to get to what the judge did wrong.
Judge did wrong. Okay, so Father lied all up in there. My parents had testified in there, trying to disprove some of the father's claims. Even at one point, supporting the father, talking about how both of us need to grow up, that he's not a bad person. He's not a bad father. He just needs to put his priorities in check.
The judge put that on the record?
That was on the record, yes.
It was a male or female judge?
Judge, as a Daniel Higgins Jr. That was the judge.
Male judge?
Yes.
Do you think he was biased against you because you're female?
Absolutely.
Do you think he was biased against you because you're in a relation? What's that? In a relation? Give me that. Come on, Jim.
I know. Now you got me.
Help me out, Jim.
I know what you're talking about.
Interracial. Interracial relationship.
Yes, I do. I also believe that I didn't have, a lot of money, didn't have the best lawyers, because struck out twice with that. Just
so what would make you say that about the judge?
Just the way he handled himself, the way the courthouse handled everything.
How so?
Every time I went for something, it's dismissed. It was getting turned down.
They didn't give you grounds as to why?
No, they didn't. And I believe that these are the grounds now. They just didn't like me.
So I want to ask, this is a hypothetical, but this is something that I've noticed here locally. Is that it seems to me that it's not even so much, say, a bias against gender or race. It's more like I just find it very coincidental that you would have an attorney that practices in family court, right? And then he gets a $3,000 retainer.
And then leaves.
But really doesn't do anything and leaves. And then all of a sudden, after that, you really need an attorney, another attorney. And then all of a sudden, somebody just happens to say, oh, these guys are really good. So then you go over and you spend more money.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, now the judge keeps shooting down everything you're doing because now you have to represent yourself.
I feel like I was set up.
That's what I mean.
The lawyer that I got in the second one
this circle.
Worked closely with the judge. So
right, and that's
That was scary. At first, we looked at he's working with the judge. They said he was a good guy. He's fair. It didn't turn out that way, and the judge and the lawyer wound up screwing me over in the end. So after we went through this trial, he said, I can make a decision right now, but I'm not going to, because he knew I didn't have a lawyer and he screwed up.
The judge is saying this.
So he gave us the end of June. No, he said 30 days after June 8th to come up with a proposal. Basically, one more time to argue your side. So I was out of town, North Carolina. June 30th, around 4:30 in the afternoon, I get an email from the father's lawyer. Now, at that point, I had counsel.
Did Dad have a male or female judge?
Male.
Okay. How about you?
Male.
Okay.
At that point, I had received, we got the payment. I am now represented at the end of June. Okay. I have a lawyer. Why is the father's lawyer reaching out to me privately without the father or my lawyer knowing on what's going on?
That's a bar complaint.
That's shady. I definitely called my lawyer right after I got this email, and she said that's shady. She said he just got off the phone with your lawyer an hour ago.
Did you file a bar complaint?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We're still waiting on that. He emailed me basically an outline of what is now the current order. And I was really upset because it took me 2 months to get my proposal in. I had the end of August to get that proposal in, and they sent theirs in on the other side at the end of June. And I feel, once again, I was being, pushed back by the courthouse. My lawyer is saying, I'm waiting on them to give me the transcripts.
Right.
Now, this is 2 months later. It doesn't take that long to get transcripts from this trial. And he said, I'm pushing it. I'm expediting it. I'm still waiting for it. So he got it. And the transcripts I had sent you, so really thick in that email. When you have it's like this thick in paperwork. And I had maybe 6 pages for my proposal. And I was really upset because I felt that the lawyer didn't really push it that much on my side. And now there was nothing left for us to do but wait. Okay. So 2 days after Thanksgiving, the order came out Friday night. Just got out of the bath, my phone went off, and the secretary said, you need to check your email. You need to read this order. And I read the order, and the judge took my kids. Just took my kids.
What do you mean, take your kids?
Well, the father had them that Thursday. His schedule was Thursday to Sunday, 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. They were already down there because of Thanksgiving. Because of the holiday schedule alternates, I did not get that holiday at all. So I didn't have my children for Thanksgiving. So he already had them, and they would be returning to me on Sunday.
Right.
And so he had them in his care already when the order came out, and they were gone. He took them. He gave the father a primary based on no grounds whatsoever. And
did you have an evidentiary hearing?
No.
Did he?
He laid it all out in the order.
So the judge never did an evidentiary hearing?
No, he laid it out in the order, and
he said, you have to do an evidentiary hearing before you take kids or change custody.
Do you want to tell the judge that? Because
I tell judges that all the time.
Somebody needs to tell him, because with that, like you said, you need to do a hearing. Just remove the children from my home. 3 years they've been in this home. They've been in daycare for their development because they were born 2 months early.
Did you file a judicial complaint based on that?
My lawyer did, yes. She's working on that right now. She said it's a process. He took them. He did not do a home assessment. Nothing.
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do.
Did not do a home assessment.
Did the judge send you guys to mediation?
No.
They're supposed to do that.
And I had definitely spoke about his anger issues.
I'm not too
violence
too
that he's done
familiar
with
how Philadelphia, Pennsylvania law works. I did read up on some of the family law before I came on air today, just to kind of familiarize myself.
Whatever you read up on,
because
was not what he did.
I'm more familiar with the Nevada because that's where I'm at.
No, I understand.
But I did read up on some of it. Did you take a little gander at that as well? Because
yes,
it's online.
After being through this process, I have learned so much, and I feel with everybody working together on their end, I've got to try to be one step ahead now. Right. And always do my homework. And we have this amazing lawyer. Her name is Angela Stelly. After the order had come out, me and my mother had spent 2 days trying to find a new lawyer. And we found her, and she's been amazing and really helping us. Right? Oh my God.
So let me ask you something. Is your rights terminated?
No. But it feels like they were.
So when the judge changed custody without an evidentiary hearing, what custody were you having prior to that?
I had primary. That means they lived with me.
Right.
Monday through Thursday. And he had them the first, second, and fourth weekend of every month.
And now he has primary.
Yes. So
you see them how often?
Just on the weekends. 3 weekends of the month, that's it.
And how old are they?
3 years old. 3.5. And it is devastating right now.
So they rip the children away from you, basically.
I honestly felt like when I read those words that they were gone, that father has primary, I felt like somebody just stabbed me in the heart. I honestly felt like a piece of me has died. Like, you ripped my children away.
Do you have legal rights to them?
I do, but at the father's control. Yes, at his discretion, yes.
Does it say that in the order?
No, but he is in control of everything. This is the issue. For instance, at his discretion, I had scheduled the children to go back to be assessed for speech therapy because they've had therapy their whole life.
Right.
And they were getting better. At 2 years old, you can have an amazing conversation with them. And I noticed there's a stutter going on. Sentences aren't forming right. They're getting confused and lost in what they're saying. They start a sentence and trail off and you're done.
That's going on with both children?
Both children, yes. They were born 6.5 weeks early.
And they both have speech, is it speech impairment or?
I think so, yes, now. We'll never know. I had pre-existing order had set in at literally like maybe 2 weeks before his order came out that he had primary, canceled it all.
So you haven't been back to court since?
Working on that now. No, we have not been back to court since.
Is that an order?
That's an order.
Okay.
That came out.
Did you appeal it to the appellate? Or
yes, we did. That is literally in the process right now. As of March 3rd.
Was that after you and I had the conversation or before?
Before.
Okay.
And as of March 3rd, somebody from the courts had just sent us a, what did they call it? That they received it. They received information.
Did you find out how long this judge has been on the bench?
Not long, actually.
Was this judge appointed or was he elected?
I think he was elected. A lot of people around town don't understand how he keeps getting reelected because he's not a nice man.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to look at his campaign expense report to see if that lawyer that
We're looking into that now to see if the lawyer and the judge have worked together because if they're all working against us.
So if he donated to his reelection campaign,
I'm not sure.
They call them CNA reports. Just
we're
go
working on that now.
Yeah, just go on
Secretary of State.
Secretary of State for Pennsylvania. And
that's what my lawyer is looking into now. She's trying to look into to see if the father lawyer worked in any of the cases because they seem to buddy together.
The lawyer didn't do that prior investigation before.
She came on at the end. She came on right after the children were taken. And of all the lawyers that me and my mother had called, they would not help me because they didn't want to get involved in this too late in the case. Like they were like, so much has happened, we don't want to do it. And other people did not want to help me because why would the judge do that? Oh, he has to have a reason. We can't see him just ripping children away. They didn't want to help me either. And my lawyer, the second lawyer that I had, I went back to him right after and I said, he was like, why are you here? That's how he greeted me. And I said, what do you mean, why am I here? I said, you got the order. Obviously, you sent it to me. I said, my children are gone. He said, oh, they're not gone. You're just seeing them less. I said, and that's not an issue for you? I said, we were here to fight for this. You gave me hope that I could fight for this and get my every other weekends. You told me they were not going to take your children unless they had proof that you were unfit. No investigation was done. Still, no investigation has been done to this day. And it's been over 3 months. And I was hurt. He said, I work with that judge and I am not going to challenge him. And that was the end of our working relationship with him.
So your lawyer didn't fight for you?
He did not fight it. No, he did not want to. He said, I work with him and what he said, what's done is done. Yeah. And once again, I was crushed and I was out of money again.
That's what they do. They bleed you dry.
Yeah. Bleed me dry. I mean, I'm getting it from all these ends. I'm getting it from the courthouse fees, 2 lawyers now. Like you said, what is it, $4,500 in debt? And the father.
And you didn't pay the third lawyer. Did you pay the third lawyer?
Wow, we're scrambling every bit of money we can now. And the father, he's also taken money from me. 3 years of my taxes, blocked me, taken all that money. He's taken, during COVID with the stimulus checks, taken all that. Child care tax credit, taken it all.
Did you file a complaint with the IRS?
Yes, I did. We have gone through so many child support conferences. Nothing's being, I don't know if it's being investigated or nothing's being done. He still has not turned in his tax stuff. He's turned in nothing. But because I didn't turn in something one time, they canceled the whole conference altogether because I didn't turn something in. Oh, because I didn't get the transcripts for the last Child Support conference. Didn't tell me that if you didn't get it, we were going to cancel it. So once again, everything is just coming back on me. Right. He's taking all my money. Like, I don't even know how we're making it by, with this lawyer right now to fight for this. But I'm doing what I can. I'm working. My jobs, I had to get another job, doing everything I can.
It sounds like everything I just suggest you're doing.
Yes, it's in the works.
Besides,
I had to read up on everything. Oh, God, yes. It's just devastating because, yes, I am suffering horribly. I have definitely taken a hit from this. I mean, the depression was bad. In the beginning, I thought my children were dead. They were gone like that. Let
me ask you something, Ms. Wynder. You see the children on the weekends, correct?
And I see them on the FaceTime calls with Skype.
That's what I was going to ask you.
When he allows it. We have an ordered time at 7.
Does the order says his discretion or?
No, but he makes up what he wants to make up because he thinks that he has the power to do that and everybody just goes along with it. No one is trying to stop him.
Did you file for?
Yes, I did. We just
what are you reading my book?
Yes, I did. Mind? Yes, I am. We actually, March 8th.
What am I going to say? What am I going to say, Alexus?
I'm going to say if I went back to court to get this order revised.
I was going to ask you, No, that's not what I was going to say.
Well, I had a feeling maybe.
Okay. I was going to say if you filed for an emergency order to show cause.
I did.
For contempt of court with sanctions and jail time on the table.
I did.
And what happened?
The first order, they dismissed it and they just moved to another date. We got there and...
On what grounds?
Nothing. They just said...
they just said
trial.
Dismissed?
Yeah, they said reschedule for another date.
Oh, so it hasn't been heard yet.
We did March 8th. We finally sat down from February 28th to March 8th. We had sat down and I spoke about just everything that was going on. And they're not listening to that whatsoever.
Got you.
He's 7 o'clock is the time that I FaceTime them. So he wanted 7 o'clock.
You really need to
later.
take a look at that campaign expense report because it sounds a little shady unless the judge is
everything sounds shady.
Bringing his own personal bias to the bench because he doesn't like you for X, Y, and Z. Have you really did a deep dive into this judge's background?
We're working on that right now, actually.
It's like everything I'm saying, she says she's working on it already.
We are. It's in the works. We're trying to see if any other cases have turned out like mine. Like you said, with that bias that he's bringing.
Did you find out if is the judge white?
Yes.
Okay. Did you find out if he's racist in any shape or form?
I've heard that he doesn't like women, like strongly dislikes women. I've heard around town.
Doesn't like women?
Yeah, I've heard around town.
Is he a closet homosexual maybe?
I've heard that too.
Really?
I have, yes, around town. My lawyers is looking into this now. I went to the courthouse to try to get records of it and they're telling me we can't do that. So we're looking elsewhere on the outside.
How big is this town you live in?
Not very big at all.
Okay.
Not big at all. Okay. The judge's, his explanation, the reasoning behind the removal of the children and the switch of the custody was I was held in contempt.
You are held in contempt?
A contempt that we knew nothing about. Showed up at the courthouse and said, what am I in contempt for? And she said, did you miss a meeting? And I said, no. And she said, okay, let me look up in the system. Looked at me in the system. She said, honey, you have no charges of contempt against you. And in the order, it says now the mother has been put on notice. Apparently, back in December 11th of 2020, before an order actually came out, I was actually issued by mail with the judge's signature on it that I had been given full custody until told otherwise. So December 23rd of 2020 is when that order became official, where I did not have full custody, but I had primary. So before December 23rd, he gave me full custody. I did nothing to abuse that full custody, did nothing. Father's trying to say that I violated an order, withheld the children from him. And that's what he based his decision on for this current order, that I was held in contempt. I never had a hearing for it. Nothing was never discussed. And what happened now, actually, looking back in the records, just like 2 other charges of contempt against me that I just found out now, it was actually filed within the courthouse. It was stamped, had the legal stamp on it, but then taken away. And they took it out. And so it couldn't go any further than a meeting.
You didn't have a contempt hearing regarding you, right?
Never. I was not aware of anything.
Okay.
Like absolutely nothing.
Okay.
And now I just found out about the second one. We went in for phone call issue, and he denied me a weekend in January. And he told me, and it's in the Family Wizard app, that they have access to see these conversations between us. He told me he can keep the children because the courthouse told him so. He said the courthouse told him so. I was like, okay, wow. So you're really working together. You're saying it in your own words. Everybody is all together. And so now I'm working with the appeal, and I'm concerned for, the judge's decision. My children, like I told you, they were born premature. They've had developmental issues. He has canceled their appointments. I called the pediatrician to continue on trying to get these appointments. He's found out now he never transferred their previous doctor's records from their pediatrician to the new one. So this new doctor had no idea what I was talking about.
Is there anything that you're not telling me about the judge?
No, that's all that I'm aware of right now. The judge has no regard for anything. I mean, these children are now in an environment where they're sick all the time.
And
the father smokes, and it's not good.
Do your kids have emphysema or anything?
Secondhand smoke now.
Okay.
I don't know if they have asthma yet because they are still young for that to be tested, but they have inhalers now to deal with the secondhand smoke.
Okay.
Because the father smokes. That was an ongoing issue since day one. I've taken them to numerous doctors, even an out-of-network hospital that I'm being charged with contempt for, trying to hide that from the father.
Do you have a communication relationship with the dad?
No.
Not at all.
There is no relationship with me and him.
I'm talking about to communicate about the children.
He abuses that power to communicate with the children. He'll start off with, oh, this is about the children, but then goes in to throw digs at me, tell me I'm horrible mom, I'm proving I'm unfit, he's got proof, talk to me however he wants to talk to me.
Did you get a behavioral order issued on the dad?
We tried. They didn't listen. They didn't listen when I said they hated anger.
Order
yes.
is, right?
I tried to get everything. I tried to prove that he's got anger issues and he needs help. Did
you ask the court to have dad go through therapy?
We spoke about that, but they not answering. They didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. No one is helping me. Mm-hmm. And it's just so sad because my children are the ones that are suffering. Those babies
Absolutely.
Are suffering.
Yes.
They've been ripped out of school. He claimed on the record that he was going to put them in a better learning education center than I was. How far up in the schooling can you go based on their development that you've just now halted? They are sitting at home for 3 months. They are right animals.
There. Stop right there. He took them out of school. Did you call up CPS for that?
Yes, we did.
And?
Current investigation as we speak.
Okay.
Along with CPS
Is
call.
Is he homeschooling them?
No, they're sitting at home with his mother, who's like 80-something.
Okay.
Doing nothing. And because of that has led to potty training also cut out now. We went from
3 years old.
3 years old. And we went from.
And now how old are they?
They're 3.5. They're going to be 4 years old this coming July.
How long has this been going on?
For what?
This whole episode with the family court.
A year, actually. A year. November 2021 we just made a year in November of last year.
Okay.
And yeah, no more potty training. We went from diapers at bedtime at home and nap time at daycare. Diapers only, those 2 times. They're full-time diapers now with rashes. They don't know how to use the bathroom. You try to get on them, be stern when they have accidents. They're in the corner screaming. They don't want to get their bottoms popped. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Who's popping you? Daddy pops my bottom when I have an accident. This is the response that you're getting now. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? They just yell and they scream. They used to go swimming after school programs, Tuesdays and Thursdays. We would alternate between Monday and Wednesdays of skating, little indoor soccer places, just things with activities with around children, get the development going. It's done. They come over a week and ask me, Mommy, when are we gonna go to play with the other kids? I wanna go play ball with the other kids. I wanna stay at this place. Mommy, when are we gonna go to school? I was in the closet and they said the lunchbox. And Clarison said, you have my applesauce for school? No, Pops, you're not going to school. It's heartbreaking that I have to tell them these things. And I can't even tell them about future plans on the Skype call because he was blowing up my phone telling me how sick this is and how disgusting I am to fill their heads with broken promises. Because they ask me what I want to do with you. And I tell them, when you come home, we're going to do this. Tell me it's not even going to happen. But how do you know what happens in my house?
Right. Ms. Wynder, regarding the judge and the attorneys involved, is there anything else you want to talk about regarding those issues?
I just want people to, I just want them to do their job, honestly. Like,
I mean, did we cover everything regarding that?
Oh yeah, we did. And it's just really sad right now because these are the people that I'm supposed to turn to for help. Yeah. The police department didn't help me.
You're gonna get to say that in Mark is gonna zoom in on you. But I wanted to thank you for coming on the program.
I'm very, very thankful that you would have me on here to help with this this worldwide issue going on.
Yes. And I know you came from the East Coast, 3-hour time zone.
Yes.
So, and I'm the one tired and you're not.
No, I'm wide awake.
Jim, do you have anything else, Ms. Wynder?
No questions. Just kind of to top up what I already said in the beginning of the show, it just seems to me that like this is and it's sad that it's occurring, but it just seems like this is an ongoing issue that Steve and I continually hear, no matter what state it is, no matter what litigant we talk to, male, female. It's sad. The way I put it is it literally is like this little circle. And actually, just locally, Steve and I both know a lot of attorneys in this town. And we've actually had like really good attorneys flat out tell us, we won't touch family court. Because they're like, we don't know what the judges are going to do because they don't follow the Constitution. No. We don't know what the rules are when we go into the courtroom. And these are like very distinguished attorneys.
I've had a couple tell me they will not work in that county. They said, I want to help you, but I cannot work in that county. They tell me how bad it is. I've been turned down by a lot of good lawyers, like you said, really good established ones. They said, they can't help you. They said that a county in Monroe, they said, I can't do it. Like you said, they don't know what's going to happen.
Right. And that's something that needs to be addressed by I really want everybody, whether you have Steve, you put it better than I do with when people ask Steve, like, why is it that you're so passionate about family court? What happened to you? What's your open family court case? And Steve always says, like, I have no dog in this fight. I just see that something is screwed up and we need to fix it. And so I just call on everybody to, whether you have something that's going on in family court, whether you do or not, it doesn't matter. This is something that affects a lot of people and it affects society. And when it starts affecting children, think about one day, I don't care if they're your kids or not, one day, these kids are going to be the ones that are your office holders, your school teachers, and they're the ones that are going to start making the laws that you have to live by. So please get involved with your state legislatures, your local offices. Start paying attention to these judges. And it can't be just veterans of politics here in Las Vegas. It can't be just Steve Sanson. It's got to be everybody. And I just really want to thank you for coming on. And I really have a lot of respect for anybody that is willing to bring up such an emotional issue, because while I'm not married, I don't have kids, I can tell you, as someone who has had parents that never got divorced, but they did get separated, one of the things that was very clear when my parents separated for a short period of time is, if we were going with mom, okay, we were going with mom, and my dad didn't fight that, but it doesn't always happen that way. So I think way too many people, way too many judges take advantage of the emotion in this case, and they use it to make a quick buck. $3,000 for a retainer and does nothing for you.
$1,500.
So everybody needs to start paying attention to this. So I know I'm getting long-winded and we're all tired, but it's a very important issue. And I just want to make sure that I get that out to everybody and to show a lot of respect for you for doing what you're doing, and don't give up.
No.
Nothing's impossible.
No, and that's like another thing I wanted to add as well. Like, I know that I'm not the only one going through a horrible nightmare like this. Even, even some young men out there going through this as well as women. I just want everyone to know that, like, me, I'm out here fighting for this. I'm telling my story. You can do the same thing as well. Like, I don't want you to feel like, you can be silenced, because you can't. You got to get your story out there. And somebody will listen somewhere. But they can't listen or make a change if you don't step forward and, speak up about it.
Ms. Wynder? I want to thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me, for sure,
Jim,
to help
thanks
me
for coming.
get my story out there.
Mark is going to zoom in on you, and you could say whatever. And if you want to give a point of contact, somebody reach out to you via email or something like that, you could do that as well. If you don't want to give a point of contact, you don't.
For sure.
You don't have to. Okay. Please.
Yeah. So, like I said before, I just really hope that anybody out there going through this or not steps up and makes a change with everything, and just don't give up hope. If you're going through this, share your story like I did. It's going to be hard for sure, but you got to get out there, and you don't know what's going to happen. And if anybody wants to reach out to me and contact me, I can be contacted through my email, which is lexilogan63@gmail.com. That is LEXIEE Logan, LOGAN 63@gmail.com. And I hope to hear from you and your stories as well.
Thank you so much, Miss Logan.
Don't worry about it.
Miss Wynder, where did Logan come from?
My mom.
Oh.
My mom's last name.
Why are you confusing me like this?
I'm sorry. I thought we went over this before.
It's campaign season, so
everybody's on edge.
Folks, that's Alexus Wynder, who came from Pennsylvania to talk about the corruption within that city over there. And we want just everybody to pay attention to this and contact your congressman, your senator, because this is a national epidemic. It's not local, it's national. And I think the one of the only ways we could start fixing it is from the national level, along with the local level, with your state legislators, your assembly, your state senators. And to get this problem fixed, because we cannot allow these judges to run wild any longer. This is Steve Sampson, Jim Jonas for Veterans in Politics. Until next time.